Imagine this. You're sitting across from your wife of several years, the woman you've built a life with, and she says, "I think we should try an open marriage." It's not a conversation you ever anticipated, but you listen. She talks about exploration, about reigniting passion, about freedom. You agree hesitantly because you love her and want her to be happy. Weeks go by and she seems happier, more alive. Then she starts mentioning a new colleague, a CEO at her firm. She laughs at his jokes, talks about his charisma, his success. You notice the spark in her eyes when she speaks of him, a spark that used to be reserved for you. One evening she doesn't come home. No calls, no messages. The next morning she returns, eyes avoiding yours, and confesses, she's been seeing him. The CEO. She says it's just physical, that it means nothing. But you know better. Heartbroken, you try to move on. You reconnect with an old friend, her best friend actually. She offers a listening ear, comfort, and eventually something more. A connection blossoms, unexpected but genuine. Then out of the blue your wife returns. Tears streaming down her face, she tells you the CEO ended things. He ghosted her. She realizes now that she made a mistake, that she wants to come back to you. But it's too late. Because you've found someone who truly values you. Someone who was there all along. Welcome to Richard's Stories, the place where secrets unravel, regrets echo louder than apologies, and internet strangers become the center of unforgettable human dramas. If you're new here, let me tell you what we do. We don't just read Reddit stories. We don't skim through confessions or gossip like some background noise. We dive in, fully, emotionally, unapologetically. We walk with the storyteller through every awkward silence, every broken promise, every unexpected twist that makes you shake your head or say, "No way, that just happened." See, what we've learned over time is this: these anonymous voices online, they're not just throwing words into the void. These are real people, people trying to make sense of betrayal, love, pain, and sometimes just plain absurdity. And sometimes, they drop a truth bomb that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about relationships, loyalty, or even basic decency. Now today's story? It's not your typical relationship tale. It's layered. It's uncomfortable. It's messy in the most human way possible. We've got the illusion of freedom, the sting of betrayal, the poetic justice of karma, and a plot twist that hits like a punch in the gut. And what makes this one stand out isn't just the CEO drama or the cheating scandal. It's the quiet resolve of the husband, and the way fate spun the whole story on its head without him lifting a finger. So, grab your drink, lean in close, and let's break this down. No fluff. No sugarcoating. Just one man's raw account of how a so-called open marriage blew up in the most spectacular, ironic way imaginable, on the world's most honest platform, Reddit. So here's how it all started. It was a Thursday evening. Rain tapping against the windows, the kind of quiet where something heavy feels like it's hanging in the air. My wife, let's call her Rachel, sat across from me at the dinner table, barely touching her food. She looked nervous, the kind of nervous that doesn't come from a bad day at work. She looked up and said, "I think we need to talk." Now, as a married man, those words? They're never good. Never. My stomach dropped. "I feel like something's missing," she said. "I love you, but I think we've lost our spark." I didn't say anything. Just listened. Then came the bombshell. "I've been doing a lot of reading, and I think we should consider an open marriage. Just try it. See if it helps." I'm not gonna lie, I was stunned. I mean, we've been married for 8 years. We'd built a life. Bought a house together. Had Sunday rituals. We'd laugh over dumb Netflix shows. I thought we were solid. Not perfect, but who is? I looked at her, searching for a sign that this was some twisted joke. But no, she was serious. And the worst part? She was already 3 steps ahead. "It doesn't have to change how we feel about each other," she said. "Plenty of couples do it and come out stronger." I said no. Immediately. But she didn't stop there. She started spinning it, said I was being insecure, possessive. That if I really loved her, I'd let her explore. She said I was the one holding her back. That she was being brave, evolved, and that I was stuck in an outdated version of marriage. That hit me hard. She turned it into guilt. "I've supported you through everything, your job loss, your dad's health issues, and all I'm asking for is this one thing." I still didn't budge. But over the next few weeks, she didn't let it go. It came up every few days. She was cold, distant. And I'll be honest, part of me started to feel like I was the one being unreasonable. So eventually, I caved. I told her, "Fine. But I'm not doing this to make myself happy. I'm doing it to prove that I'm listening." That was my first mistake. And it didn't take long before the open marriage stopped being an idea and became her lifestyle. Within days she was texting constantly. New makeup, new outfits, coming home late, all with vague explanations, drinks with friends, or staying out to think. She'd laugh at her phone, hide it when I walked in the room. Then came the night she dropped the name, Colin. I asked, "Who's Colin?" She said, "He's just someone from work. Totally harmless." But my gut told me different. A few weeks later she told me bluntly that she and Colin had connected. Not just physically, emotionally. She said, "He sees me. He understands me in ways I forgot were possible." I asked her, "So what does that mean for us?" She gave me this look, part pity, part impatience, and said, "I don't know. I just need space right now." Now here's where it gets really messed up. While she was out living her fantasy, I was home, confused, hurt, trying to keep the pieces of my marriage from shattering. That's when Emily, Rachel's best friend, started checking in on me. Just texting at first. "Hey, you okay?" She told me what's going on. "I just wanted to see if you needed someone to talk to." We didn't talk much at first, but over time we shared a lot. Turns out she didn't exactly approve of Rachel's new lifestyle either. Still, I kept my distance. I wasn't looking to start something. I was married. I was loyal. And deep down, part of me was hoping Rachel would come to her senses. But then one day she didn't come home. All night. I texted. Called. No answer. The next morning she walked in like nothing had happened. Said she'd crashed at a friend's. I knew she was lying. I didn't even ask. Something in me had broken. From that point on, I started pulling back, not out of spite but out of survival. And then, silence. Out of the blue she stopped talking about Colin. Stopped going out. Just retreated into herself. A week later, I found her crying in the kitchen. "He stopped texting me," she said. "I don't know what happened." She looked at me with eyes swollen from crying and whispered, "I think I made a mistake." I didn't say anything, because by that time, Emily and I were talking every day, and something real was beginning to form. But I wasn't ready to admit that to myself yet. That's when the tables started turning. She wanted to talk again. Have dinners. Watch movies. She even suggested a vacation. Like we could just reset everything. But she didn't apologize. Not really. Instead, she framed it like, "We were just trying something new. You agreed to. We were both figuring it out." Gaslighting again. She never once acknowledged the betrayal, the emotional damage. She made it seem like we were equal in all this. But we weren't. So, there we were, Rachel, my wife of 8 years, standing in our kitchen, tears streaming down her face. She had just confessed that the CEO, Colin, had ended things with her. The man she left our marriage for had discarded her, and now she was seeking solace in the very relationship she had fractured. She looked at me, eyes pleading, and said, "I made a mistake. I miss what we had. Can we try again?" I stood there, a whirlwind of emotions coursing through me. Anger, betrayal, sadness, but also a strange sense of clarity. This was the moment I had feared and, paradoxically, anticipated. "Rachel," I began, my voice steady, "you chose a path that led you away from us. You pursued it wholeheartedly despite my reservations. Now, you want to return as if nothing happened." She tried to justify her actions, saying, "I thought I needed something different, but I realize now that what we had was special." I shook my head, the weight of her choices pressing down on me. Special doesn't get discarded for a fleeting affair. You didn't just hurt me, you dismantled the trust and foundation of our marriage. At that moment, I realized that forgiveness wasn't about erasing the past but acknowledging it and choosing a path forward. And for me, that path no longer included Rachel. I told her, "I can't go back to what we were. Too much has changed." She looked devastated, but I knew that this was a consequence of her actions, a reality she had to face. In the weeks that followed, I found unexpected comfort in Emily, Rachel's best friend. Our connection had grown organically, rooted in shared experiences and mutual understanding. It wasn't about revenge or filling a void, it was about finding solace in someone who truly saw me. And that's when things took a dark turn. Rachel didn't take rejection well. At first, it was the pleading. The messages. The long voice notes sent at midnight, "We can fix this, you just need to give me a chance to make it right." But when I didn't budge, when she saw me and Emily together, that mask cracked. Suddenly, Emily became the enemy. Rachel accused her of betrayal, of backstabbing, of violating their friendship in the most despicable way. She sent Emily walls of text, some filled with venom, others with veiled threats. She even showed up at her workplace pretending to have a conversation, which quickly escalated into a public screaming match that security had to break up. And then, she turned on me. Rachel went from heartbreak to obsession in a snap. She began showing up outside my apartment late at night, parked across the street. I'd come out in the morning and find little gifts on my windshield, old photos, dried roses, handwritten notes that started with "remember when" and ended with "you're still mine." At one point she sent me a message that sent a chill through my spine. "If I can't have you, no one will. You were mine first. You still are." I tried reasoning with her, even suggested therapy, closure, anything that might de-escalate things. But it was like speaking to someone who wasn't there anymore. She wasn't letting go. She had become possessed, not by love but by ownership. As if my moving on was an act of war. The stalking got worse. She followed us to a restaurant and caused a scene so loud the manager had to call the police. When they arrived, she sobbed to the officer that I was confused and that Emily was manipulating me. She weaponized every tool she could think of, friends, family, even social media. She painted herself as the victim. Said I was having the affair all along. That Emily seduced me while Rachel was going through a spiritual crisis. But none of that mattered anymore. Because I saw it all clearly now. This wasn't love. This wasn't remorse. This was control. Possession. And when she couldn't get it, she tried to burn the whole house down. To anyone listening, be very careful who you let into your soul. Because when some people lose their grip on you, they don't walk away. They implode. After the tumultuous events that unfolded, I found myself at a crossroads. Rachel's descent into obsession had not only strained my emotional well-being but also threatened the newfound peace I had discovered with Emily. It became clear that I needed to take decisive action to protect myself and those I cared about. I sought legal counsel and obtained a restraining order against Rachel. It wasn't a decision I made lightly, but her escalating behavior left me with no choice. The court's intervention provided a semblance of safety, allowing me to focus on rebuilding my life. Emily stood by me through it all, her unwavering support a beacon during the darkest times. Our relationship, once a source of guilt and confusion, evolved into a partnership grounded in mutual respect and understanding. We took things slowly, ensuring that our bond was built on a solid foundation rather than the ruins of past relationships. Reflecting on everything, I realized that agreeing to an open marriage had been a mistake. I had hoped it would reignite the spark in our relationship, but instead, it exposed deep-seated issues that couldn't be resolved through external means. Rachel's actions, while hurtful, were a manifestation of those unresolved problems. To anyone considering an open relationship as a solution to marital woes, I urge you to think carefully. Communication and mutual understanding are paramount. If those elements are lacking, introducing additional complexities can exacerbate existing issues. As for Rachel, I hope she finds the help she needs to address her behavior. Everyone deserves a chance at redemption, but it must come from a place of genuine remorse and a willingness to change. To my audience, what would you have done in my situation? Have you ever faced a similar dilemma? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights could provide comfort and guidance to others navigating similar challenges. After everything, after the betrayal, the gaslighting, the chaos, and Rachel's descent into a spiral of obsession, I was no longer the man I had been at the start of this story. I wasn't naive anymore. I wasn't a man clinging to a marriage because it used to be good. I was someone who had stared heartbreak in the face and learned to draw boundaries that should have been there all along. Rachel didn't take rejection well. That much was already obvious. But the version of her I saw in those final weeks was something else entirely. The moment she realized I wasn't playing along anymore, when I stopped responding to her messages, when I didn't flinch at her tears or give in to her guilt trips, she flipped the script entirely. She started calling Emily at her job, multiple times a day, leaving cryptic voicemails. Then came the blackmail, petty at first. She tried to paint Emily as a homewrecker to our mutual friends. Said she had proof that Emily pursued me while we were still married, which was completely false. And when that didn't get the reaction she wanted, she escalated. I remember one night Emily and I came home from dinner, and there were rose petals on the porch. Our porch. A bouquet of lilies. Rachel knew those were Emily's favorite flowers, and that wasn't a romantic gesture. It was a warning. A taunt. A way of saying, I know where you live now. The next few days were a whirlwind. Rachel sent me videos, clips of our old home videos spliced together with her whispering in the background saying things like, you can't forget me. You don't want to. We belong together. It was chilling. And when that still didn't shake me, she sent one final message, if I can't have you, no one will. I won't lie, those words sent a bolt of fear down my spine. I never thought she'd become dangerous, But obsession has a way of blurring lines, doesn't it? I documented everything. Every message. Every voicemail. Every accidental bump in, when she showed up at places I never told her I'd be. And with all of that, I went to the police. They took it seriously, thank God. A restraining order was issued. She was warned, and eventually she backed off, at least in a legal sense. But emotionally? She still tried, now through social media accounts under fake names, through mutual acquaintances subtly testing the waters to see if I'd softened. I hadn't, because by then I was healing. Slowly, yes, but surely. And Emily? She never ran. Not once. Even when it would have made sense to, given all the baggage, the drama, she stood by me. We talked about everything. Every scar, every fear. We didn't jump into something reckless. We took our time. We built something real. Do I regret agreeing to that open marriage in the first place? You know what? No. I regret the way it ended, sure. I regret the emotional carnage that came with it. But the experience ripped away the illusion I had been living in. It forced me to confront uncomfortable truths, that Rachel had checked out long before she ever voiced it, that I was holding on to a version of her that hadn't existed in years, and that sometimes, letting go isn't failure, it's the first step toward peace. And I found peace. Not in revenge, not in watching her suffer, but in choosing myself. In drawing that line and saying, enough. So here's my take. If you ever find yourself in a situation where your partner is asking for something that doesn't sit right with your gut, listen to that instinct. Don't dismiss it to keep the peace. Don't bury it under the weight of love or guilt or obligation. Because one day you'll look around and realize that trying to save something broken nearly broke you. And to Rachel, if you're out there and somehow listening, I genuinely hope you find the healing you need. But not through me. That chapter is closed. To all of you watching, what would you have done? Would you have agreed to the open marriage? Would you have taken her back after the betrayal? Or walked away sooner? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. And if you've gone through something like this, or are in it right now, know this, you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not weak. Choosing your peace is never the wrong move. Stay strong, folks. Life's messy, but sometimes the mess is what leads to clarity. As we wrap up this emotional journey, let's turn to the community that has been the backbone of this story, the Redditors whose insights and shared experiences have added depth and perspective. Their comments not only resonate with the narrative but also offer a mirror reflecting the complexities of human relationships. As we wrap up this emotional journey, let's turn to the community that has been the backbone of this story, the Redditors whose insights and shared experiences have added depth and perspective. Their comments not only resonate with the narrative but also offer a mirror reflecting the complexities of human relationships. Top Reddit comment. She played with fire and got burned. Classic case of wanting everything and ending up with nothing. This comment encapsulates the essence of Rachel's actions. It's a stark reminder that actions have consequences, and sometimes in the pursuit of personal desires, we lose sight of the bigger picture. Another insightful perspective. He gave her what she wanted, and when it backfired, he had already found happiness elsewhere. This highlights the irony of the situation. The husband, initially reluctant, agreed to the open marriage to support his wife's desires. Yet, when the dynamics shifted, he found solace and happiness, while she grappled with the fallout of her choices. A reflective observation. It's one thing to explore new dynamics together, but abandoning your partner for someone else? That's a whole new level. This comment delves into the emotional betrayal experienced. It's not just about the open marriage, it's about the emotional abandonment and the subsequent realization of what was lost. Shared experience from a Redditor. I was in a similar situation. My partner wanted to explore and I agreed. But when I found someone who truly valued me, my partner couldn't handle it. It's a painful lesson, but one that taught me my worth. This personal account underscores the recurring theme, the importance of self-worth and the realization that sometimes, what we think we want isn't what we need. In the end, it's about respect and communication. Without those, any relationship, open or not, is doomed to fail. This serves as a poignant reminder that the foundation of any relationship lies in mutual respect and open communication. Without these pillars, even the most unconventional arrangements can crumble. These comments, rich with wisdom and personal experience, offer a tapestry of perspectives on the complexities of relationships. They remind us that while the paths we choose may differ, the underlying emotions, love, betrayal, hope, and resilience, are universal. As we conclude, I invite you to share your thoughts. Have you experienced something similar? What are your views on open relationships and the dynamics they introduce? Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. Phew, what a ride. From the gut punch of betrayal to the slow, seething unraveling of a marriage that once held promise, to the woman who lit the match only to watch everything around her go up in flames. This wasn't just a Reddit tale, this was a masterclass in emotional chaos, resilience, and the quiet power of self-respect. But if you think this was intense, buckle in. Because next time, we're diving headfirst into a story that is, no exaggeration, unreal. Picture this. A woman discovers her boyfriend has been cheating on her. Not the first time. Not the second. But again. So she decides she's done playing victim and crafts a revenge so elaborate, so brilliant, so out of the box that even Hollywood would blink twice. Fake wedding invites, a rented yacht, an entire guest list made up of his side chicks. And that's just scratching the surface. You'll laugh. You'll gasp. You'll probably pause the video just to say, no. Freaking way. So yeah, if betrayal and revenge had a baby and fed it nothing but chaos, that story is it. Trust me, you won't want to miss that one. And before we wrap it all up, I just want to say thank you, really, for sticking through every beat of this story, every twist, every gasp-worthy moment. These stories aren't just drama, they're reflections of real choices, real consequences, and sometimes real redemption. Whether you saw yourself in the husband who stood his ground, or felt the sting of Rachel's manipulative spiral, stories like these remind us of the power of self-awareness, and how far people will go when they feel entitled to someone else's heart. So if this resonated with you, if it made you think, or even if it made you say, what the actual hell did I just listen to? Then you're in the right place. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, subscribe if this kind of chaos is your jam, and don't forget to tap that bell so you'll know the moment the next episode drops. Until then, stay grounded, stay sharp, and as always, stay curious.